Armen Levack, 104.5 The Team, 104.5theteam.com. Levack talking Mets baseball with the man, Adam Rubin. Adam, first off, what is happening? Why are they on this skid? What happened to the Mets?
Well, it's no secret that the starting pitching for the Mets is very strong, but the hitting leaves something to be desired, and it's finally caught up with them with Travis d'Arnaud on the DL, with David Wright having been out a long term now, and with Daniel Murphy on the DL. Basically, the hitting is not there. They only had 3 hits yesterday against the Milwaukee Brewers. They were hitless after the 3rd inning the day before, and they're losing games 2-1, 1-0, that kind of thing, because they just don't score.
Now, David Wright, is there any word on if he could return, when he would return, anything like that?
Well, Sandy Alderson, the general manager, says they're optimistic that Wright will return in the near term, but clearly there's going to be a significant lag before he's back, and there's no certainty with that. Basically, he's in California right now. He has what's called lower back stenosis, meaning the spinal cavity is narrower than a normal spinal cavity, and it's pressing on the nerves. So they want to avoid surgery at all costs. So basically, he's doing physical therapy in L.A. Every Monday he meets with the doctor. One of these Mondays, they're going to say, okay, you can start doing baseball activity, but we have to remember that David Wright's been out since April now. So when he's cleared to do baseball activity, it's still going to be another 3, 4, 5 weeks until he's ready for the major. So, I mean, even if he got the clearance this upcoming Monday, he's not going to be back until August.
Adam Rubin, ESPN New York. Follow him on Twitter. It's a must. Adam Rubin, ESPN. Adam, is the answer to their lineup, to their batting woes, is it in-house, or do they have to go make a move?
Well, they're going to get Daniel Murphy back within a few days, 3, 4, 5, 6 days. He's doing a rehab assignment right now in Class A. He's going to play 7 innings tonight for the Florida State League team, but that's not enough. And as I said, David Wright is going to be a longer-term absence. d'Arnaud is on the DL again, so they really need to go outside and get some infusion of bats. But arguably, it's too late at this point. They're already a game under 500. They missed their window to really take advantage of the Nationals' early struggles and build a little bit of a lead. Now chasing the Nationals in the division, they're 3.5 back now. It's highly improbable that the Mets are going to end up ever catching the Nationals. And then the wild card might even be a more dire situation. I mean, you're chasing teams. You're about 4.5 out now in the wild card. And you're chasing teams like the Giants and the Pirates, and those types of teams are stronger than the Mets. So it's hard to foresee the Mets actually catching that type of team.
Now, with Daniel Murphy coming up, Wilmer Flores moves to second. What does this do for the lineup?
Well, that's not officially announced yet, but it certainly seems like the Wilmer Flores experiment at shortstop is going to end in a few days when Daniel Murphy comes back from the DL. Murphy will play third base. Flores will play second. And probably Rubin Tejada, at least short term, will play shortstop. And maybe down the road, Matt Reynolds comes up as a shortstop or something like that from AAA. But that's kind of a move that it's not going to help a lot. But there's so many deficiencies with Flores as a shortstop in terms of turning double plays, in terms of range, that getting him away from shortstop and getting a more regular or a guy who's established as a shortstop, even if Tejada's a little bit underwhelming himself offensively, is certainly going to shore things up a little bit defensively, which will help the pitchers out at least.
Now, of course, Adam Rubin of ESPN New York, Adam Rubin, ESPN on Twitter. With how dire the straits are, the Mets aren't sellers, though, right? They would still be buyers or at least stand pat type guys. They're not going to go start selling talent, right?
Well, we're a long way until the trading deadline on July 31st, and if you look at the July schedule for the Mets, it's a little scary where they might be at that point. They've got 2 series against the Nationals. They got a series against the Cardinals. I think they have a couple series against the Dodgers. They're going to see the Pirates, I'm pretty sure. So there are a lot of really tough opponents for the Mets in July. It's really an unbelievable schedule. It's about as tough a schedule as you can have in July. So we'll see where they are at the end of July. I mean, I could foresee them being 6, 7, 8, 10 games under 500 by the end of July, and maybe that situation does present itself where they do start to sell off pieces like a Daniel Murphy who's in the last year of a contract, or a Bartolo Colon or someone like that. So
don't push the panic button just yet, but hover over it really close?
Well, I think Mets fans are kind of resigned to the season having drifted away. They're pretty angry right now, and I think that the anger is really directed at the front office for not shoring things up in the short term. I know it's difficult to make trades in June and May and stuff, but the Mets played the last month with guys like Eric Campbell playing third base instead of just going out and getting even not a superstar, but just kind of a competent major league third baseman like a Juan Uribe, like the Braves did. The Mets just didn't pull the trigger on something like that, and they're using players who are just not major league caliber players. They're using AAA players or quadruple A players, as they call them, and they've suffered because of it.
Now, how much blame and how safe is Terry Collins in all this?
Well, Terry's in the last year of his contract, and I mean, there's no secret that if the Mets finish under 500 this year, Terry's not going to be back as manager next year. But I really don't think he's culpable for what's going on. I mean, Kevin Long is the hitting coach. He was brought in with a great reputation, and he can't solve these hitting woes because it's not really fixable. You have players who aren't major league players trying to play a major league schedule. So I really don't think Terry Collins is in imminent danger. Could he get pushed out at some point? I mean, sure. Sandy Alderson and Paul DePodesta, the vice president, have a very strong relationship with Bud Black going back to their Padres days. It wouldn't shock me if Bud Black is the manager next year or something like that. But I don't think there's any imminent danger with Terry, and I don't think it's his fault regardless.
Armen Levack, 104.5 The Team, 104.5theteam.com. Adam Rubin of ESPN New York, again on Twitter, at Adam Rubin ESPN. Adam, the Mets have stated year after year, we're going to stand pat, we're not going to spend a ton of money. Are they going to have to change their philosophy moving forward? I mean, this is they looked like the team to beat for the beginning of the season, and then they've just fallen off with these hitting woes.
Well, it's complicated. With the Mets, they're going to have incredibly strong starting pitching, even stronger starting pitching next year because they have a guy, Steven Matz, a lefty who's in AAA right now, who's really a stud prospect too. And then you have Zach Wheeler coming back midway through next season from Tommy John surgery. So the rotation is so strong. You'd love them to go out and get bats, but it's probably going to have to be, because of the financial issues, probably more a trade route. And are they finally going to be willing to trade some of their young starting pitching for a young position player? I mean, people have said it ad nauseum, but the Mets and the Cubs really do line up for a trade very well, whether it's Starlin Castro or whoever, getting one of the Cubs' young infielders for some of the Mets' young pitching. But the Mets have been unwilling to part with their young pitching, so they aren't going anywhere in that respect. And it's hard to, even though there's so many contracts coming off the books for the Mets after this year, you're talking about Murphy's contract is up, Colon's contract is up. There's a ton of raises to existing players because they have those players who are arbitration eligible. Matt Harvey's salary is going to jump from $500,000 this year to, I don't know what it's going to be next year. Of course, you're arbitration eligible, $5, $6, $7 million. Lucas Duda's salary is going to jump. So a lot of the salaries coming off the books are immediately going to be offset by guys getting raises.
Adam, I got to ask you for something to cheer up these Mets fans. They're all on the ledge right now. Is there any good news in the future?
I mean, it's depressing time. 7-game losing streak. It's the longest losing streak in 4 years or so. I mean, the positive is the starting pitching. And what's on the way in terms of Steven Matz and Zach Wheeler coming back. It's just they don't even have to get great bats. They just have to get competent bats and competent fielders to stand behind those starting pitchers so that they don't lose games of 1-0, that they can win them 3-2 or whatever.
He's Adam Rubin from ESPN New York, and when you want to talk Mets, he's the one who knows it all. Thank you so much for your time today. And again, a must follow if you're a Mets fan, at Adam Rubin ESPN. Thank you so much.
Sure, my pleasure.